Get Sweaty with Leddy, a wellness program about pain management. Good morning and welcome. We have a glorious day here, as you can see, and we have an even better guest because today's guest, his company is responsible for the strength that my body is able to possess. So let's hop inside, get a good sweat on, and meet who we're chatting with. Feels good to be in the sauna with you, man. It's been a while. Busy guy. It's tough to connect with. It's tough to connect sometime, but when it comes to the sauna, it's a little easier to just be like, yeah, I got some time, right?
Yeah.
Colt, super excited for you to be here today. I got Colt Thompson. Colt and I met during my most intense bout of pain that I ever experienced in my entire life. It was my second round of herniated disc. It was like 2016, and I came in crawling to the office in need of any sort of expertise that I could get from Colt using the ARP machine to help fix my body.
You did come in rough shape. I think you saw, hitting the sauna, getting sweaty with Leddy, right?
That's
guess
right.
Dropping it like it's hot, huh?
Yes.
Is that the line? So, no,
lines for days, this guy. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's been a fun ride. Obviously, us crossing paths on that has kind of built a nice relationship between the Leddys, yourself, Melissa, and kind of the crew at Back Channel, as well as kind of the ARP Wave family as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And to catch the viewers up to speed, when Colt was helping me with my pain, we became friends, right?
Yeah.
Just naturally through that experience, and got him over to the brewage when we were building Back Channel. That was the garage that housed our little brewery, and Colt's one of our investors. So appreciate you helping make this all happen, because we're Back Channel Brewing Collective, and it takes a team to make something great happen. So grateful for that. Grateful for what you've done for me, and I'm excited for you to kind of tell the viewers a little bit about ARPwave and what it is. So Colt, what brings you into pain?
What brings me into pain? So the easy answer to what brings me into pain really comes down to allowing people to kind of do what they want to do when they want to do it. Not necessarily having to think about like, hey, if I go for a walk out to the lake or walk into the sauna and step up, am I going to hurt doing that? I'm really all about promoting availability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. It just so happens a lot of our stuff that we've tied into as far as like, energy, vibration, healing, frequency really comes into a lot of like what my belief is too, so it really kind of resonates. What you put out is kind of what comes back, right? And the people
Totally.
You surround yourself with, also kind of help that happen. So I've been fortunate to have a great sphere in building this out. A lot of people know ARPwave with my father, Dennis Thompson, Jay Schroeder, Dr. John Pietila, Dr. Stephen Moe. There's a lot of people that kind of came into the collaborative effort of developing ARPwave, developing the therapy, developing the system that we use. I don't want to leave out too Gary Thomas, as far as coming into the unit development and a lot of the protocols that we do. But, kind of tying that back, the energy has always been great. And that's where I've been fortunate to be able to kind of build this business and be a part of that sphere, an element of building that out. But then also throughout that, the people that we've met along the way, as far as the athletes, the everyday people, the people that are just trying to get back to doing what they want to do. So, it's been a fun 22 years is about when I came back on board with my pop. He had been kind of kicking this off with the team for 2-3 years. And after school kind of came back into the scene and, just more recently stepped more into like an executive level and kind of a high level to take ARPwave to the public here.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So a little bit about the machine, would you say that because I use a POV Sport, and it's kind of like it's just a little mini computer in a sense, right? But I don't do a good job of describing it. I would can you help us out here?
Yeah, so POV Sport is one of our over-the-counter models, right? It was geared more towards kind of healthy tissue, performance training, recovery aspects and elements. A lot of people find ARPwave, and they find ARPwave because, shoot, my back hurts or my knee hurts. Well, great, you got to try this out. You know, a lot of people find ARPwave therapy because of the outcome that we get in getting people out of pain, or like I said, being available to do what they want to do. But then there's kind of that transition after the therapy where people are getting more into the injury prevention side. So we've geared different devices with different protocols to be able to allow people to, one, work on more of a therapeutic side of the equation, but then after that kind of ease more into like the performance, strength training, injury prevention programs. So yeah, to the point of the different devices, different programs, we have providers all around the world at this point. We have about 300 providers that have come on board, brought the therapy and the technology into their practice. And with those providers, there's a lot of different specialties. I mean, so if you get into kind of following some of the socials that we're posting, you can see a lot of what those docs are doing. I mean, there's specialists working with CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome. We have other specialists working with joint replacement, so pre and post surgical. We then have a lot of people that are kind of dealing with like athletics and player availability, keeping people on the field. But you know, the misconception, just because of where ARPwave landed is in that sports scene, is that we only work with athletes. Everybody's an athlete. I mean, there's a lot of things that are coming up now as far as the corporate athlete, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, you still have to be able to do repetitive actions in an office setting. Maybe not quite as strenuous as on the field, but at the same time, you still need that neuroefficiency, that communication, to be able to make that happen. And I know I kind of veered off of the question a little bit there, but you know, what is ARPwave? It stands for Accelerated Recovery Performance, is what the ARP stands for. And wave is basically the frequencies that we've generated within the equipment. So when you get into that paired with the active movements, the neuroefficiency and the communication, just to briefly touch on that, you know, the concept of flipping a light switch and a light bulb turning on, fraying the cord, flipping the switch and the light bulb flickering, that is very similar to how our body responds. So our nervous system, when we sustain trauma or sustain an injury, we try to send a signal to the muscle, but the muscle shorts out. So it flickers. It's working, but it's working a lot less efficiently than it should be, which then puts us in a position to be more susceptible to injury. Or my knee hurts, there's compensation patterns, and now my hip hurts, and now my back hurts, and now my shoulder hurts. And it can actually go through the full chain like that as well. Yeah. So, you know, getting into what is ARPwave, the misconception of it's just for athletes, it's just this machine. It's a therapeutic process to ultimately get a permanent change in somebody's life, a different lifestyle to allow them to do what they want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I love that you say that the ARP isn't just for athletes, because it does, you would, if you were just the average person, you would easily perceive that. You know, if you were to go into ARPwave or just hear the stories, it's just an incredible amount of athletes that have had success using that. For me, I grew up an athlete. I consider myself an athlete. I lost my identity as an athlete for a little while when I was going through my intense bouts of pain, because I was afraid to play sports and be active because I was afraid to hurt myself, right? Yeah. But with the ARPwave, I was able to get that just inner athlete mentality back. And even though I'm not competing in sports or out there, you know, performing at my highest level, this allows me to perform just at the highest human level. You know, I can walk around and feel good. I can engage in events here at the brewery and not worry about bending over and hurting my knee, or twisting something and hurting my back, or having to do a full one of these to look over because I just tweaked my neck from earlier. The ARPwave machine allows me to, you know, keep my body on and functioning. You know, I've said it before, but I haven't picked up a weight in over 10 years, probably closer to over 15 years, because I have this machine to help me train and to help me fight pain. And it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, and that's great. I mean, you're such high energy too, you know, like that's kind of the lifestyle that you have and the person you are. And when you're limited, I mean, when you came into the office that first time when we were just talking about that, I mean, people have a whole different personality and a whole different kind of outlook on the situation in life. And like, it's really, really hard to see that. I mean, so to be able to actually help create changes in people's lives like that, I mean, that's really what kind of keeps me in the game, or keeps me interested in what we do, is is giving people like the opportunity to, like what you said, I mean, be able to do what you want to do. I keep sounding like a broken record with that comment, but to the point of performance too, that's been an interesting kind of avenue that we've gone down too. For a long time we were doing a lot of kind of training with that as well, where we got more into kind of body sculpting, body toning, but then there's also the performance aspect of that too. So I mean, there's a ton of applications, and
there's literally for everything.
I try to hide, and we fix it. Yeah, we work with that. Yeah, we have a provider that does that. It sounds kind of too good to be true, but in reality, I mean, that's kind of where the whole concept of what we've done is like complimentary sessions, allowing people to come in, experience ARPwave, and see if it is the right avenue for them to pursue. There's a lot of angles and things that we can help out with. There's a lot of things that we collaborate with as well. That was part of like why I was excited with this, or even with the back channel health fair that we had done this summer.
Spring Park Awakening.
To come out here though, and like kind of a meeting of the minds, and how do we collaborate rather than viewing everybody as competition with these different services.
Yes.
Part of kind of even where you're at with the sauna, or getting into the cold plunge, or getting into ARPwave, or getting into some of the chiropractic scene, there's elements that really address different elements of recovery, and they can all be done together. And the beauty of ARPwave is it's usually not going to be something that's counterproductive to other therapies, as well as other therapies being counterproductive to ARPwave. So that's where, when we talk about providers, I mean, we have a lot of different specialists that are on board that work with a lot of different conditions, and the concept of it is the nervous system controls everything within our body, from organ function to tissue healing to movement. And if we get that communicating efficiently, we put the body in a position to be able to heal, recover, and perform.
Yeah.
So
it's I'm dealing with something right now. I know I've mentioned it before, but I got a knee situation. I went to see Dr. John Pietzola recently, and we did some tests, and he's like, I think you got a torn meniscus. And I'm not going to go and get an MRI for that, like, unless it just doesn't get any better. But I can use the ARP, and I can use other methods to try to heal myself, and it's already working. I'm doing ARP rehab session every morning and night for the past few days, and I will continue to do that for a week until I, assess where my knee's at. But I've told a few people, I got some knee stuff going on. I think it might be meniscus, and the immediate response is, oh, so when are you gonna have surgery? And I'm like, I will not be having surgery, you know. And that's just the beauty of this ARP, is it's helping to repair this tissue around my injury, slowly but surely speeding up the healing process and just making me functional, and not having to compensate for the pain that was there, but it's now not there because I'm in the process of healing. So It's the magic of the ARPwave, right?
Yeah, and there's elements of X-rays, MRIs that are very beneficial, right? Like, you're getting an image of what actually happened with the tissue and what actually is going on in that situation, to be able to then kind of put a protocol or a treatment plan together.
Yep.
So at least where the force ended up, the damage that happened to the tissue, but ultimately something failed to allow the force to go into that joint. It wasn't supposed to end up in that meniscus, and that's ultimately where you get the damage. So taking it one step further is really the premise of ARPwave, is like, why did that happen? And, getting into some of the collaborative efforts of neuroefficiency, neurocommunication, getting the signal to the muscle absorbing force, like that's the concept. It shouldn't be something simple, but there is traumas that happen in people's lives where it's just too much force, too much energy going into the body. Muscles can't absorb it. Take, for example, like a car accident, or, something like that. But
inevitable pain and something like that.
Yeah. So it's been cool. I think, part of where you and I jive too is on that collaborative effort, and, some of the different therapies that can be paired together to get the best outcome.
Yeah. When I go see Dr. J has given me, tips on how to use the ARP. And then he's also, saying I should go, see my ART specialist, because now he's made the communication between my brains, my nerves, and my muscles sound to the point where everything is on, and I will be able to heal more properly. So it is just utilizing all different types of specialists to help heal before going to that dreaded surgery route, you know? Like if I don't heal, I'm definitely gonna have to get an MRI to figure out what's going on in case it's something more than the meniscus. But if I can avoid that altogether.
And sometimes it is warranted, but you know, there's a lot of situations where surgery can be avoided.
Yes.
But you know, not to shy away, you know, if there's something going on that surgery is warranted, like that opportunity is there. And we do a lot of prehab or pre-surgical therapy as well as post-surgical therapy to just help prepare, get people out of pain, build up strength to then when they go for the procedure, they're going to come out a lot stronger and recover a lot faster. So, you know, it really helps with accelerating the recovery. And traditionally, like dealing with injuries, dealing with surgery, we're looking at usually a 30 to 50% faster recovery time in dealing with conditions like that. So it's been a wild ride, and you know, kind of some of the stuff that we got going on now with a lot of the professionals that are on board that have been coming around the table, kind of in our board or our advisory board. There's some pretty cool data that we've been pulling with some studies and different things that we're pushing forward with, you know, as far as the surgical realm, stroke realm. But yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Didn't mean to. I just get excited talking about it.
I think it's amazing, and that's what this platform is here for, because we want everybody to be watching, not just athletes, not just people with a physical, visible injury, you know? So I think it's great that you mentioned that.
That's such an interesting statement too. You know, 50% of America or 50% of the world, I think, is actually the number that is dealing with pain. And you see people that are out there living life, trying to enjoy life, but they have pain restrictions on things that they want to do. I mean, that number is crazy. I mean, just
crazy.
Yeah. Every other person is dealing with something. And if you've been in pain, you've felt pain, I mean, you kind of know that whole emotional connection that comes with it as well. And that's another cool thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a gift and a curse for me to be able to see people struggling. You know, there's countless amount of people stroll through back channel, and I can see it on their face. I can see it in their stride. I can see it how they sit. I can see it how they stand. Right. And it's like, do they know? You know, do they know that they're in pain, or is it just a fact, like what life is to them? And that's where, you know, when we can try to just get people to think differently about their bodies and how they're moving, then that's when we can start the process of healing naturally and getting people feeling better.
Yeah, and to that point, compensation patterns. Most people don't even know that they have compensation patterns because it's been something they've been doing for so long to avoid that pain.
Yeah.
That is the realness of it. I mean, you could go in and you could get out of pain, but if you're still getting out of a chair, you know, leaning forward or using muscles you're not supposed to be using,
it's only a matter of time.
You have that force transfer, you have that compensation, and guess where you're going to end up? Right back in that same boat. So a huge element of ARP is overriding the nervous system, breaking the compensation patterns to allow people to then move properly, break that pattern, get a permanent fix. So I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, that is a big element of what makes that successful, because we have people coming in and it's like, you know, raise your arm. All right, well, great. You know, did you notice you shrugged your shoulder? Do you see the range of motion? Yeah. You get done with the therapy session and we're all the way up here now.
Yeah, we're high-fiving.
Yeah. And did you notice the difference? Well, not really. You know, it's kind of the same. It's like, no, we just gained a huge amount of range of motion. But, you know, kind of getting into those elements of taking notice of how you're moving and taking that into life and paying attention to that. Like, it's always like, oh, dang, there it was. I just did it again. So, yeah. Overriding that, though, building that signal, changing that signal, getting people moving freely without pain.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I'm about to move freely to go in and put some more wood on this fire here and get this thing cranking. So we'll take a little break and make that happen. The pocket ARP hooked up to my knee right here.
Got you wrapped up there, right? Yeah, so a lot of people call this the little ARP. You know, it's small, but it still gets the job done. Mm-hmm. You can kind of feel, you know, there's a lot of oomph to it.
A lot of oomph.
Yeah, so, you know, got you wrapped up, strapped up, and, you know, at this point, you know, kind of getting into some different movements, right? Yeah. Cool. And then, but other certain jokes.
I'm feeling pretty damn good now that we got this thing piping in here. Let the drips begin soon enough, right?
Sorry with Leddy. Oh, man.
I'm grateful that we're able to share this opportunity, or to share, the story of ARP to the world here. This is my way of doing it, but I know that you're doing it, in other avenues with doctors and other specialists to spread the word about this amazing machine and technology. So could you tell us a little about what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's great, and I'm very good at oversimplifying the process, right? And being able to kind of bring that into layman's terms. We've got a couple of really great studies going on right now. We've had some studies over the years, and we have a lot of the medical professionals that are really helping take the therapy and the process and the response within the body to the next level. Really breaking down the physics of what is ARP Wave and how does ARP Wave therapy affect the recovery process. So in dialing that in, I can't get into too much stuff as we start to post it, but by the time this maybe is going live, we might have some of that stuff actually going live and able to kind of roll it out into the market space as well. So kind of getting into that too, people are always like, hey, what's your genius? What are you really good at? And I think part of what I've been finding is relationship building and, building out spheres and networking and bringing people together to really kind of brainstorm on bigger ideas and brainstorm on different opportunities. And that's really been my specialty and my focus in building out ARPwave is getting a lot of these people that have been doing great things for people around the same table in a collaborative effort. Just like we talked about even with the event here locally, but doing that on a worldwide scale is taking it to the next level. So it's been exciting. I've gotten to shake some hands with some of the best athletes in the world and some of the biggest contract players in the world. But, at this point too, now being able to kind of take that and go into now the science side of it too, and the big brains and, I say nerd in the coolest way possible, but, the people that are really, really breaking down the details and the intricacies of the functions within the body. It's just been great. I mean, from getting into the physics of it, but getting into the neurological components of it and just the general functionality of how things are going, responding, and need to take a breath after that one, man.
Sauna.
But seriously, it's been great, and I don't tout that to pat myself on my back by any means, because the team that we have and the people that we have are the people responsible for this stuff coming together.
Yeah.
I play a part in ARPwave, but the team, the doctors, the staff that we have, I mean, it's people that just really, really care about what we do, seeing those results, and actually putting out a top-notch quality product within the world.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, I love how you're carrying on the legacy of your dad by, doing what I love to do, and that's bring an ultimate team together to make something happen. And I'm excited to read the papers when they come out and the studies. So it'll just be more information for me to help spread the good word about ARPwave.
It's been a great thing. And like I said at the beginning of this whole conversation of being able to tie in with my pop and do this with him throughout the years was just such a great experience. My pop, my brother, we have a lot of family that was involved in kind of growing it and taking it to that next level. That was kind of what we've known. I've known ARPwave, I've lived ARPwave, I breathed ARPwave, and it's been a fun ride, and to kind of be able to collaborate with him on like the vision of the next level and the general bird's eye goal of helping as many people as possible. How do we do that? And collaboration. I mean, that has been the big way of kind of taking that to the next level. You
said you've met some amazing people. I know that you just celebrated a feat with one of the great defensive linemen of all time in the NFL, Dwight Freeney. How did that come up,
Yeah, so with Dwight, I don't want to cramp on my father's style too much on that. So Dwight and my dad had just a wonderful relationship throughout his career. My dad did a lot of work with the Colts throughout that whole Super Bowl era, from Edgerrin James to Dwight to a bunch of other players I guess I won't get into. But with those two guys, And with Dwight, making the Super Bowl, my pop not being able to attend, I got the opportunity to go and celebrate with him. And, it was great to kind of relive some of those days where I think Dwight was maybe one of the first guys who had like 8 ARPs on him. At the time it was 10, but at max power. If you actually kind of look up his story and like his health, his availability, as we had said, and being able to be on the field, I mean, he sustained an ankle injury that was a grade 3 ankle sprain at the time, right before the Super Bowl. And that's kind of where they really kind of were hammering out those sessions to get him back and get him ready for that game. And like I said, I don't want to take anything away from what my dad and him did. And there's another doc, Dr. Leon Melman, that was a big part of kind of working within that group too. So again, relationships, networking, and building that out. But Dwight, it was great to kind of get out there, shake hands, and even mingling around that party, just seeing some of the guys and saying, hey, I'm Colt with ARP Wave. My dad was Dennis Thompson with ARP Wave, and hearing some of the stories about like, whoa, man, I got hooked up to that thing, and the results, like the stories, the results. It was a great experience, and I definitely thank Dwight, thank the Colts for allowing me to kind of come in my
that's cool.
for my dad, and attend the party and just kind of celebrate with him on that milestone.
I can't imagine what having 8 machines hooked up like would be. That's another level of determination and will. That's just amazing. For me, I was just casually trying to rehab my knee like a couple weeks ago, and I was not getting cranked up at all. But then I started to really get angry at my knee situation, and I saw Dr. J, and he told me like what I should be doing, and now I'm just back to the crank it up to 100. Let's go. I want to defeat this thing. So I can only imagine the mindset that Dwight had, going into the Super Bowl. I mean, I would have had 13 machines hooked up to me if I would have had that opportunity. Do whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
That's super. That's amazing.
That's the mentality of it all, right? But I mean, the concept of this too is like, oh, ARP Wave's painful. I can't do ARP Wave. That hurts. It's intense. It's too intense. There's a lot of variables and iterations that you can do within the therapy now too to still get a result, but not quite at that same intensity that we might take some of the players through. So, we've developed different protocols for different conditions that are allowing kind of the everyday people to get into it, but at the same time, to get those accelerated results and overriding a signal does require some will to be able to get through the session.
It's a type of pain that preludes relief.
Intensity.
Yeah, the type of intensity. Yeah. And that is what it is. But if you come into it with a mindset like, I'm here to get better, I'm going to get through this, then you're going to heal faster. And who wouldn't want to be operating quicker?
And I mean, on the elements that we're talking about too, on like injury recovery, I mean, that's just one thing that people tend to see is the quick relief from pain, right? The other thing that comes with that too is, hey, I slept wonderful last night. Like I haven't dreamed and got into deep sleep for like years, months. There's a lot of responses that also happen within the body, with digestion, with sleep, rest, and recovery. Some of the stuff we've been playing with right now with one of the docs that's on board is actually taking the body. A lot of people think you can always only be in fight or flight, but you can actually be on that parasympathetic side too, where like, hey, I'm just so fatigued, I don't want to get up, I have no motivation, like just kind of that rest and recovery mode. But determining where somebody's at on that spectrum and helping them kind of balance out is going to be a key element to that recovery process. And being able to document where they're at on the spectrum, where we're at after the sessions, and how we kind of recover with that has been a very, very cool process that's kind of come into ARPwave with one of our providers. And I know I kind of steered off again. I like I said, I get excited about different things that we got going on, and that's just
Sauna will do that to you.
Just one of those avenues, though. Yeah, one of those avenues that we got cooking with some of the providers.
That's cool. That's cool. So if someone's watching from home right now and they're like, man, this ARPwave sounds pretty interesting. How do I get involved in that? Let them know.
Yeah. No, I mean, so in getting into ARPwave, right, we talk about you crawling into the office, and that's one opportunity.
Literally.
We have our office in Apple Valley, Minnesota, is where we're based out of our corporate headquarters. We do see patients there. We also then have providers all around the nation. So Apple Valley is a little too far. You can contact our office to find a local provider. There is then the opportunity of like, hey, we don't have that local provider. We also have in-home options. So we can get into the telemedicine aspect of shipping equipment out and actually then guiding a therapy session via video conference. So, Teams, Zoom, FaceTime. There's different opportunities on that front. So, you've touched on this too, even throughout this conversation of, hey, I came into the office and now I have a machine at home. There's a lot of opportunities for patients to either do weekly, monthly, yearly, long-term lifestyle programs that we can get people into. So there is going to be different time frames, different parameters for different types of injuries. Obviously, an ankle sprain is probably going to be a little quicker recovery time than, say, an ACL tear and an ACL surgery. Yeah. So by reaching out to the office, we can really help answer any questions and kind of guide a therapy session and just kind of discuss different opportunities to actually get you with a provider, get you with one of the ARPwave therapists and determine if it is a right fit for you to pursue ARPwave therapy.
That sounds pretty awesome. I think I might use that component. Just, having a one-on-one with somebody telling me what to do is critical. You don't need to live in Minnesota to do this. I swear by my ARP machine at home. I was using it this morning, feeling great. I'm going to use it later tonight. I remember back in the day when I first got it, I was hooking everybody up to it. It was almost like a game that we would play. Hey, where do you hurt? Where do you hurt? And then I would hook them up and, their wrist. And then they go through it and then they're doing their motions and all of a sudden they're feeling better. Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's so fun and just liberating to give someone relief. So I can only imagine you're seeing that on another level just all the time.
Yeah. And don't let that scare you away. It's part of what we get into, greater intensity, greater the change. There is an element of kind of helping push you, almost do another rep. Let's see you get that movement down. You can beat the current, get that control, and ultimately get yourself in a position to move properly.
Yes.
That is where that kind of comes into the conversation. But, one of the things that's really, really big for a lot of people too is also like the passive therapies of putting the machine on, getting into our proprietary waveform. We call it background, but all about rest, recovery, blood flow. It's a great protocol for like, I worked out, I'm very, very sore. I'm going through these ARPwave sessions. Like I'm starting to feel a little bit tired, a little bit sore. Well, great. We can work some of those different pad placements in a passive mode to also help promote blood flow, relaxation of the tissue, and recovery.
Yeah, I use the background mode a lot during that second herniated disc issue. I would be going through the rehab exercises, which actually I embraced that intensity because outside of that I'm having debilitating nerve pain. So to be able to feel intense, intensity is so much better than pain. And I loved it. I craved it. But then at night, I'd have the background on and it was kind of just that like soothing feeling and mentally knowing that I have this machine working for me right now. It's gonna keep everything flowing properly. It's not gonna let things get stuck somewhere and prevent me from healing at the pace that I need to heal at.
Yeah, and I mean, in breaking those patterns down, but also then kind of reestablishing some of those connections or unkinking the hose and allowing the information to flow. It's kind of cool to see how patients then progress on like output power, but also movement and then lasting pain relief or lasting movement patterns or lasting feeling good. It's been a cool process. And I guess not to get into it too much, like speaking with our team can kind of help guide a little bit more of like therapy guidelines and things like that we would put together for you. But being able to cut down some of those recovery times, whether it's a chronic issue that somebody's been dealing with for years and years to being an acute injury that just happened last night on the ice, right? Like, yep. I mean, we see a lot of people throughout that spectrum. And one of the studies we got going on right now is like chronic stroke. So for a long time it was, if you're not regaining this within 2 years, like that's where you're at. Like you're on your own. Nothing's going to come back. 2 years is the line. Well, they've reversed that to about 10 months. So now at 10 months, if you don't gain it back, you're not getting it back. Well, we were doing a study now with anybody that was 2 years plus stroke, and like to be able to see the gains that people have been getting. This is one of those studies that will be great to to show about the time this comes out. But you know, it's life changing. Like one of the people that we were working with, he couldn't walk. Basically from, I don't know, let's just say 100 yards about to the dock there. He's at a point where he's walking 6 miles every single day now. That was like life changing for him.
Giving a life back to somebody.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's stuff that, you know, we'll be rolling out with the documentation and the objective findings of ARP Wave therapy being used in collaboration with some of these other therapies. Yeah,
I love it. I'm going to be really excited to be able to share all this information when it comes out to the viewers there. But you know what I'm really excited to share right now is that ice hole with you. You ready to feel the cold?
Cold plunging? Oh man. Yeah, let's do it. It's a beautiful balmy day in Minnesota today.
It's nice out today.
Yeah,
it's nice out today.
We went from like -7 yesterday to what, 30, 32 today. So yeah, we do have a heat wave pumping
and
through.
This weekend will be, the high is going to be -7. The high is -7.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to take advantage of this.
So come see us in Minnesota, you know, January, February, prime time.
Prime time.
Yeah.
Well, let's go get in this hole.
Oh, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah, mannequin.
Colt is wishing that he had a proxy for the hole right now.
Yeah.
We'll show him what it's like to feel plunge-tastic in a moment here. Oh, yeah. All right, so this thing's a little slippery, right? Then they got a rung underneath. Oh, like a jacuzzi.
Oh, God.
It ain't getting any colder. That would have been funny. You got this.
Oh, boy. Oh, I missed that wrong.
Yeah. There you go. Drop those shoulders back. Take some slow breaths. Yeah. Do you cold plunge often, or when's the last time?
Oh, like last winter.
Okay. Not bad. How does this feel?
Oh, just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always scary when you're coming in, but once you're in, it's a dream.
It's cold as fuck.
Get that back of the neck right there.
Hit me at 60 seconds.
Little face pop.
Yeah.
We want to stay in here like 10 minutes?
Yeah. 11 if you're good at that.
Yeah, 11's cool.
I'm good with 60 seconds.
Yes. It's nice to not have 25-mile-per-hour winds at our face right now. That was unpleasant. So this is a whole different ball game.
All right, I'm going 10 under and then I'm done.
Go for it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look at that. That's a move right there. Ooh. Nice work, Colt.
Get out while my feet and hands.
Get out while you still can have the maneuvering. Woo! Yes. Hoo-ah!
Raw dog.
Oh. All right, back to glory in that sauna. You were natural in that hole there, Colt.
Thanks, Josh. I'm just getting blood flow back on.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
The 10-second underneath there, that was good. I counted to 10 and I thought you could hear me and then you didn't come up and I'm like, oh, I better get this guy up. But you had it.
Did I sell the freeze? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I thought you were gonna pull up a walleye, you know, up in Minnesota here. Like, I thought we'd be grabbing one of those. That's what I was looking for. So.
We should all bring a pole next time. We'll stay in there for the
until somebody catches
until we
one.
get a bite. Yeah,
until somebody catches
I like that.
one.
I like that.
No, it was fun, man. It's a great setup right there.
Anytime you can push the body, right? Like you were telling people earlier, like don't get too afraid by the intensity of the ARP. I tell the same thing with the hole. Don't be afraid about the intensity of the hole. It's gonna make you feel fantastic.
Yeah. Stressing the body, challenging the body, and seeing what you're capable of. I mean, it's always an element of this too. Yeah. So, absolutely. Not only being comfortable doing something, but also kind of pushing those limits. So, no, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm sure my face says differently on the video that we captured out there, but yeah, man, it's an experience, and especially coming from, what are we at? Like 170, 180 in here to jumping in, 30? Yeah. It's a nice shock to the system.
Yeah, and that's an extra cold plunge because we're right by a channel, and the channel has moving water, so we're getting like a little spill off of this condensed moving water. And when you got moving water and it's cold, it's extra cold.
Yeah.
But no, that was awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to take the time and reconnect with me, but then connect with everybody else. Tell the story of ARPwave and the incredible amount of benefits from it. If you're at home and you're interested in checking out the ARPwave, you can come out here on August 2nd for the next round of Spring Park Awakening. It'll be at sunrise. We'll have a lot of people that have been guests on the show. Colt will be here. But if you want something more immediate, go check out ARPwave.com. All the socials are ARPwave as well.
Yeah, at ARPwave, yeah.
At ARPwave. And start healing yourself. Start making yourself better. Start getting your body in a position to where you can wake up and be like, you know what? I do want to go and hike today, or I do want to go and ride my bike or take a jog or play some hockey or you name it. Start right now with ARPwave. You got anything else for me, Cole?
I don't know how to end it. I mean, you ended it in such a nice fashion. But no, yeah, it's always great getting together with you, Josh. Coming out here doing this. I mean, it's a cool little podcast setup. Never done a podcast in a sauna or a cold plunge before, so yeah, it's been a fun experience. But no, I appreciate the shout out. The socials, we do share a lot of the videos from providers that are doing some special things out there with the therapy. The website has a lot of great blog articles and a lot of different material that you can access to just kind of maybe get some of your frequently asked questions answered. And like I said, we're always there to respond to emails or to answer phone calls. I shouldn't say always, but Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5. Yeah, so more than happy to have you in, see what we can do, and see how we can help you out. And we have therapists at our location in Apple Valley, but then also, like we touched on, the opportunity to also do this from the comfort of your home via telemedicine. So
I love it.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Cole.
Yeah.
Until then, we'll see you later.